It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And welcome to the new year, 2023. Woo! Air horns and everything, confetti, whatever your phone does when you say Happy New Year. This week, we're giving our long-awaited thoughts on Avatar, The Way of Water, at the end of the episode, just so everyone knows what that is. We use time codes if you're new to the show. The new DCU sorts out the rumors and truth, and this was really the hot stuff when we weren't recording that first week because of our holiday travel. So I'm like, ooh,
yes,
ready to talk about this. Across the Spider-Verse literally shows off every Spider-Man variant ever made in the comic books or video games in that trailer, and more.
Yes, welcome to the new year. I feel like 2023 seems like maybe it's like a bit of a sleeper year, right? You know, at least here in the United States, it's like an off election year, so at least we know we won't get inundated with any sort of like psychotic politicians, hopefully, much during this year. It's also, it's that kind of weirdness of just being in an odd numbered year too, you know, just different voodoo going on there. I think film release wise, there's nothing as far as I can see that's huge and gigantic this year. Like there's no Star Wars on the slate for this year, film wise. You know, we just wrapped up Avatar. You know,
well, like you said, I don't think there's any sleeper. You know, it's about standard year in terms of releases, right? We know the Marvels, we know the few DC ones they've been threatening with for years, and you know the streaming stuff. Streaming stuff is interesting because it can always turn around pretty quickly. But yeah, film wise, I feel, you know, hopefully there's some surprises. I feel. The other thing is, a lot of movies I've seen lately, they're releasing the trailers about 3 months before it releases. We have a movie in here called 65, right? Like, I'd never heard of this, you know, and then the next thing, we got a trailer, it's coming in March. I'm like, oh, okay then. They're turning and burning some of this stuff out for us, so...
Yeah, this is a good pitch right now for our upcoming release page on our website at superheroslate.com. I'm looking at it right now to see what's coming up in 2023. I mean, a lot of big question marks on here, right? The biggest one for me, you have here highlighted in red. The only one in red, I'm not even sure if that's supposed to be an omen or not, but that's The Flash coming out. I mean, huge question marks around that one. Obviously, there's movies we're looking forward to, right? Like, we all want Spider-Verse to do amazing. We're going to talk about that trailer here in a little bit. Big speculations on if somebody's going to die in this kind of like last chapter of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But yet nothing like huge and monumental. I was watching Avatar just the other day and I got to see the trailer for Quantumania and I was like, wait, when does that come out again? And it said February, like I think 17th. Yeah. So it's like, man, that's like 6 weeks away. I should be buying my tickets here soon.
Yeah. So well, yeah, we have that in our notes today as something about that. So that's a good thing that you remember that, because I feel we had the leaked trailer from San Diego, right, that we saw, the real trailer, and then this has kind of been like, I don't know, like maybe radio silent, or they've been, you know, they're like, we can't really compete with Avatar news, so we're just gonna wait until that's out of the way a little bit.
I have some random funny insider thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania when we get to that topic. Okay. So stick around for that to see a very air quotes here, credible source for opinions on that movie. But yeah, it's 2023. Chris and I, surprisingly, just like every year, got to see each other during the holidays. So Chris, I feel like now I can, like, you know, as the weeks and episodes roll on, the face that I put with your voice slowly starts to fade away off into a fog. And then by the time like November comes around, I'm like, I don't even know if this person is a person anymore.
I am a bot. I'm a chat GPT voice right now.
Yes, it was nice seeing you in person.
Yeah,
and of course, Chris, the first thing he asked me when we were setting this up, he's like, "Oh, should I bring my Steam Deck?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, we might as well go all in if we're going to be seeing." So
Well,
the Steam Deck was fun. Those little, I never had a chance to touch those kind of like Valve like touchpad joysticky things.
Yeah.
So I thought the haptic feedback on those were pretty cool. And then, of course, in classical Chris fashion, you did like the homebrew options on there, like pulling up Linux windows, trying to get like this Lego Harry Potter and like bootleg Switch games to run.
Well, Lego Harry Potter's native, but yeah, we played Mario Kart for a while. What's cool about like, and I literally just took my sweatshirt off. We always meet, usually not always. We try to meet at a restaurant called Yats, which is, I believe, regionalized, kind of the Midwest, right? It's a Cajun.
Cajun Creole. I would almost say like fast casual kind of in a setting. Only really find these in Indiana. Yeah. They keep trying to expand, but the stores keep closing. So I don't understand if like people just outside of the region don't understand like the quirkiness of, as the employees would describe it, slop on top of rice. Yeah. And it's a very accurate description, and it tastes delicious. So if you ever find yourself in the Indianapolis region, look up Yats. Yats.
It's stay backwards. Which is funny, but we both got Yats sweatshirts or jackets because they were a steal. They were $15 for a zip-up hoodie. We were like, we can't.
Yeah, they're big. Yeah, that's like Walmart prices.
Yeah, and they're really comfortable. But the thing, we always eat at Yats. So every time we meet there, we're like, most people come and go, right? They eat and leave. We're there for like 2 to 3 hours sitting at this restaurant, enough to where like, the people up front are like making chit chat with us when we're buying their merch, But yeah, so we sat and had a good time, and it was fun, and exchanged some holiday presents. Mike made it home with almost every Mountain Dew released this year. Was what we found out based on
Chris is in Mountain Dew country.
Yep.
He was collecting them diligently for over the years, and I was surprised they got back. I had to like triple wrap those things, and I prayed as I put them in my luggage. And you know what they do to luggage at airports? They're chucking those things around. I was like, it is going to be catastrophic inside of my luggage. One of these explodes. So I'm glad that they didn't. So I'll be chilling those and drinking those over the year.
Yeah.
But a major topic of conversation at the table when we were eating our delicious Cajun Creole was your trip to Disney World at the end of the year here.
Yes. So the reason we took off 2 weeks, one was mine was traveling. The other one was literally Christmas Day, and that's when you guys were traveling. So we went to Disney World for 4 days, and for the first time ever, we did our park hopper passes. And you're familiar with the concept, right? You can start at a designated park, and after 2 o'clock, you can go to any of them you want. Some highlights I just want to call about Disney World this year was my first time to go to Galaxy's Edge to visit Batuu. And I was able to build my own lightsaber. Mike, you know this. Everyone on the show knows this. I did not get the black crystals. However, the people there were kind enough to tell me they've been sold out of the kind that had the chance at black for like 2 weeks. So, give me a reason to go back and build some more. But I did get it back. I did mail it back, and it did arrive again. I tried to show you the other day, Mike, but you just didn't respond to my
I was in the airport.
I know. I'm just messing with you. So lightsaber, a whole really, really awesome experience. I'm a big Muppet fan, so I was disappointed that they have the Muppet gift shop closed. However, this was the first time I've been, in 10 years where Pizza Rizzo was open. So we gotta do Pizza Rizzo. The Ratatouille ride was really fun and interesting if you get a chance to do that. And I don't think they have these out in California. Do they have the Skyliners out there? Or no?
Skyliners. Describe to me what this is.
Essentially, if you went skiing in the Alps, you get in those little pods that go up like the rope all the way up the hill.
Oh, yeah.
So they
like
have
a little
those,
gondola.
Yeah. They call them the Disney Skyliners, but they're essentially gondolas. They have those to get around the parks now that you can just hop on and literally ride around to that have them. So I was like, it was very fun to ride in those. Very efficient transportation there. So I did want to give a shout out to that. It was cold and rainy, which was awesome because when it's raining in the park and people are there locally, they just don't go, or they like find indoor things to do, like stay at your hotel. So we had a lot of empty park for the year. So that was a really, really good time. So I if anyone has any questions about Disney World, wants to get into it, do let me know. I don't know what else to say about it. It was just really fun. I had a really good time. And I will say it has prepared me for my upcoming conventions this year, because what I learned is you don't just go into walking around parks and standing in lines. Like, you don't just go in cold turkey, right? You have to actually build up a little resistance in your feet for it. So I'm gonna do like a week or 2 weeks before these. I'm gonna start just going on long walks on like very hard concrete, so I can like build up a little resistance to that. But yeah, anyway, for that. Mike, you guys travel for Christmas. Anything you want to bring up about that? I know you got you didn't get a Lego set. I got a Lego set. Your wife got a Lego set. Or no, you got Legos, didn't you? To use the Go boat?
Yeah, I got Mando's Naboo cruiser. Yeah, I've made a revelation about myself somewhat recently when it comes to Legos. I've always been a Lego kid. Grew up with Legos, and when I was a kid, I always dreamed of those gigantic Lego sets, hundreds of dollars. So gigantic. If I built it big enough, I might even be able to get inside of it. Right. Yeah. But now, like, as my fingers age and the wrinkles and the gray hairs start to grow in, I'm like, these hurt my fingers. So now I like this set. Now I'm like looking specifically for sets that are fun to build and I can kind of get done in one sitting. Right. Mm-hmm. The bigger they get, the more it just becomes like a daunting chore just to get it done. So yeah, the Mando Naboo little cruiser was a nice little session to put together. So I'd recommend that set. It was fun. But yeah, it was a busy holiday. So busy that the new year just snuck up on me, right? I feel like I haven't had a whole lot of time to like reflect on the year of 2022 or what's coming in 2023. But if anyone's a subscriber and listens to our podcast, you know that we constantly do that every week. Yep. We look forward to what's coming in the year. We talk about what's been in the past, but I did make a tweet where I kind of looked back on like 4 highlights of 2022, which I liked. And obviously, number 1 was going to be from Severance, the season finale. So if you still have not watched Severance yet, you got to hop on that train. Hopefully a new season's coming this year. I know it's been renewed. I don't know exactly when it's going to come. So look out for more Severance coming soon. And then the little limited series that Apple did as well, because as we all know, Apple TV is now the new HBO. That's where you get all your like niche good drama. So Blackbird over there was great with Paul Walter Hauser, one of my new favorite actors, even though he's been around for a while, but now he's like a household name in our house. Mm-hmm. So I love that guy. Then third up was, I was just trying to think like something just Stranger Things in general. Like I was trying to pull out a specific moment, but I would think just like, I just love this Stranger Things 4. I love that it came out in like 2 different chunks. Right, and then like it was just exciting. Yeah. Like we got a big lore dump reveal, and there was like satisfying moments where all of these things were like happening like simultaneously.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. I think Stranger Things for me, I'm not like super obsessed, but I think the way they presented like an actual villain with like a face, right, rather than just a mindless creature was really, really interesting. And the information about that character as well, I thought was fantastic overall. Yeah, and
to bring it back around to the podcast, maybe not my single favorite Marvel thing of the year, but my favorite Marvel moment was definitely the zombie Doctor Strange, the Necro Strange, whatever his official terminology is, the moment when he gets that demon cape and the demons are eating Wanda's magic, like that just like moment right there is like, this is great. Even like some people have very valid criticisms of that movie, but that moment is just so cool. Yeah. And you're not really going to get that type of visual and like just awesome action moment from a director other than Sam Raimi. So yeah, I think those were kind of my top 4 moments of 2022. And I'm not putting you on the spot, Chris. You can kind of
no, I'm not
let us let us know. But yeah, this is a long-winded way of saying we've been gone for 2 weeks. We got a lot of, I would say, drama to catch up on in the news, and then we'll see what 2023 has for us.
Yeah, and I will just start. I'll think about my tops and maybe come back with it next week. We've got, we are going to be doing an Avatar: The Way of Water review episode separate than this show. But we're recording it later, so you guys will get to listen to that if you're subscribed. But yeah, I'm going to need some time to think about it as well. But I think the biggest thing here, and I put it at the top because I didn't really have a bullet point when this started coming out, is that if you have favorite shows on HBO Max. Watch them as much as you can, because you never know when they're going to disappear. The biggest news that came out of this was one of the biggest shows on HBO, right? Westworld, an HBO original, has been removed from HBO Max. So if you enjoy these shows, watch them as much as you can. I believe I even had the first season of Westworld on Blu-ray. So there is these things will probably find new homes on different streaming services later, is what we've kind of heard. But like, you just never know what they're going to take off of there right now. Like, HBO is such like a Westworld, a wild Westworld, if you will, of like that guy. The heads are just like, yeah, just take it down. We don't care. You want to watch it? Too bad. It doesn't exist anywhere anymore. So, yeah, this is kind of a little PSA at the start of the show, and that's going to get us into our first topic, Mike. Let's get into this. Right, you ready? Is that there was a court case about trailers misleading viewers, and it was the plaintiffs, right? It is the people who brought the case up won this for false advertising on movies for the movie trailers. So the whole point of this came out with, there's a movie called Yesterday, right, where the one guy is the only person in the world who remembers the Beatles, and actress Ana de Armas was in the trailers, and then when you go and watch the movie, she's not in there because they cut all of her scenes out. So these weirdos who are obsessed with Ana de Armas apparently only watching Yesterday for her, even though they filmed the whole movie without her in it, literally have sued the company and said, you have misled us. We went and saw this to see her, and she wasn't in there. So now we created this class action lawsuit, and so on and so forth.
This is like so funny because you gotta watch out for those thirsty fanboys and fangirls out there.
They really love Blonde. Like they must have really loved it.
Well, it's funny too because I feel like Ana de is it Armas or Arms? I never know how to say her last name exactly. But I feel like she's rose to fame somewhat just recently, at least in my mind, right? Like back when Yesterday came out, I didn't think she was much of a household name, so I don't even really recall I remember the movie, but I don't really recall the trailers or her in any given way. But at the same time, I don't really feel too bad for anybody on either side of this, right? I could look at it in two different ways. One is just like things happen in movies, right? Marketing departments are different than the production departments, right? They grab the footage that they're given to cut a trailer and then they put it out there. Maybe in some circumstances they don't know, right? An actor or character is going to get cut, that sometimes is unknowable, right? So I could see that being an issue. But also, I could look at it at the other end where it's like, I could totally see like some sort of like shady like Sony business, like with a Marvel or Spider-Man movie going on here, where it's just like you could see an executive just like, I just need to sell tickets. I don't care if they're not in the movie. Put it in the trailer. I don't care. And I'm not saying that's necessarily happening, but I could definitely imagine a future where it happens.
I would say Morbius is actually what I was thinking of as an example of how this would work, because everyone was promised Adrian Toomes, right? What's his name? The actor Michael Keaton in this. They used him in the trailer, scenes that never made the movie, and then you watch the whole movie and he's not there until the post-credit scene. Like for people who aren't in the know and thought Morbius looked like a good movie, and oh my gosh, we get to see the Spider-Man stuff carry over. They just don't know. There are people out there. That's probably really disappointing overall. Now, is that enough to sue the movie theater over? The movie company, not the theater. I don't know. That's a gray area. But like the biggest ones that came up when this obviously came out was like Marvel obviously obfuscates some of their stuff in their trailers, right? Like we see unedited shots or altered shots. The in Infinity War, the Hulk is not even in the movie except for like at the beginning, right? And then there's a shot at the end where they're running through the forest and the Hulk is in there, right, with everybody, right? That never made it into the final movie, despite it being in the trailer. So, I think that's a fun shot to promote the movie, but I wasn't upset that it wasn't in the final film. I'd rather be more surprised by them, leaning one way and the movie being something else, rather than, this situation where like, hey, you're promised an actor and they're not even in the movie. Like we shot a whole trailer with Robert Downey Jr. and then he didn't even show up in the movie.
I wonder if theoretically you could sue for the reverse, right? The inclusion of something. Like we all remember the first kind of Captain America Civil War trailers, right? And like Spider-Man was like, I don't want to say digitally removed. He wasn't digitally added yet, right? His the visual effects was still working on, and they didn't want to announce him just yet. So let's imagine a really crazy world, right, where somebody loves the MCU but hates Spider-Man, right? And they go to the movie like, hey, Spider-Man's not supposed to be in this movie. I watched the trailer. Or could you argue that like as new trailers release, right? Maybe it's only illegal once the tickets are on sale and the trailers are promoting to go buy the tickets, right? Because if you're just hyping up the movie, you're technically not selling anything just yet. It's more just kind of like marketing.
They have made trailers without any footage ever, right? Like complete CG trailers, or like we shot this scene just for the trailer kind of thing. I believe the newest Shazam movie, Shazam 2, there's a line where he's like, I just do a freaking car at a dragon. Yeah, and the director's like, that line's not going to be in the movie. Like we know we cut it out already. Like it didn't fit in. So I don't think adding things in, like I don't know, false advertising is not where I would put this, right? It's not like you were promised a movie and you walked in and you got a stage play. Or you walked in and they don't show you a movie at all. They're like, oh, you actually. So like, false advertising is, I don't think, where this lives. But boy, people are really just upset about Ana de Armas, man. I guess, I don't know. They really must like the first Knives Out. But the other thing is, with this being a court case, obviously it can be overturned, right? People will appeal. The companies will appeal. There will be things. This could be overturned, and like, no, actually, like you said, we weren't promising tickets. This was very early on. Things change, obviously, right? And we're going to strike it from the record. So it can go either way. To me, I think I agree. I don't like the idea of like nefariously putting things in there where it's like, yeah, this actor, like I said, Michael Keaton's in this movie a lot, and then he's not in it till the post-credit scene. Versus, again, like I said, the Avengers, where they literally will edit somebody out or put in an unfinished cut, so like you're not spoiled by a reveal later in the movie down the road. So, yeah. Anything else on that one? We good? It sucks all around.
Yeah, we'll let you know if this ever pops back up again.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk about Sony in a good light. How about this? We don't get a lot of good Sony news, so let's go with this one here, and that is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We got our first trailer, a real trailer, not just like a teaser of Miles and Spider-Gwen, for this movie. And boy, do they like give you every Spider-Man known to man in this trailer, Mike. Like, this is quite the who's who, the freeze frames, the points of what's going on here. But I do feel like I loved seeing the animation style. I love seeing Miles. I love seeing everything about this, right? Like, it feels comforting to go back into this world a little bit.
Yeah, the second I saw this trailer, I was like, oh, the blogs. The blogs are going to love this trailer because you can basically write an article, about every frame from this trailer because there's so many different things to look at. My favorite kind of spider alternates were always like the goofy looking ones in the background. Like there's one that looks like a security guard, right?
Spider Cop, yes.
I like the ones that are like differently shaped, right? Like the bigger, bulkier ones or like the shorter ones. Mm-hmm. So there's really not a whole lot of story yet to take out of this, right? I'm still waiting to see what the story is. Obviously, Gwen, is pulling Peter kind of into this this rift, if you will. But if you remember the first film, the kind of the infraction point was, Kingpin trying to get his family back. So, are we anticipating a classic kind of Spider-Man villain at the middle of all this?
We do know the Spot is the villain from previous reports. And when they were doing this, so he's the guy like he can like create a spot and you punch through it and it goes out like the other hole on him somewhere. So how does that tie in this? I agree we don't have a, but why is Spider-Man? Why are all these Spider-Men eventually chasing Miles at some point? Like, who has made him the bad guy in this movie, or what has he done? Did he knock over someone's marbles and they spilled everywhere and they got to go get him? I don't know. I'm curious. I have a lot of questions about why they're all chasing him. But boy, like you said, there's a lot of Spider-Man to look at in here, and Spider-Web.
Yeah, it's got everything going on that we loved in the first one. So now we eagerly just wait and anticipate. Like I've said before, I'm hoping now that this movie's got enough good vibes and karma behind it that it just makes a ton of money at the box office. I just want this to be a big success because I'd love to see it animated. I'd love to see more. Like, it's weird. It's when we first talked about this movie, it was we were like, why does this need to happen? This is so weird. But we weren't expecting this unconventional kind of like take at the story and design. So, man, if we can get more of that moving forward, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And people always like, oh, I missed that animated Spider-Man movie. Should I watch it? I'm like, yes. Yeah, absolutely, you should watch it. It's a good time. And, like you said, a lot of people do skip out on animation because they think it's for kids. And I feel this is very grown up. But I'm pretty thrilled to see this. This comes out in June. One of the other things I did jot down here is that you can see the PS4 Spider-Man guy in here. If you play the game, he's in there. So everyone was like, oh, there he is. I'm like, yep, we saw him. And the other thing here, we have a tweet from Sony Pictures Animation showing off concept art for the characters, including Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man India, Spider-Punk, voiced by Daniel Kaluuya, and Mayday, Peter B. Parker, Mary Jane's baby. And I believe Peter B. Parker was the character in the first Spider-Man, right?
The Jake Johnson schlubby Spider-Man.
Yes, who we do see for a moment in this trailer. So this is really cool. I love seeing the different Spider-Mans. I've seen them in video games and comic books for a long time, but this looks great, and it really shows on this concept art how they're leaning into different art styles, right? For every different Spider-Man. I think it'd be fun to work on this, seeing the team together come and create this together. So check out that trailer and that concept art in our show notes. All right, Mike, this is where we're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. You have something, put a pin in it real fast.
Okay.
Because this is hot news. Just wrote this down right before we started. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the first superhero movie of this year, coming out February 17th. However, the next trailer will be Monday, January 9th, during the college football tournament championship on ESPN. So next Monday, a week from tomorrow, will be the next trailer. And by that, January 9th is a little over a month beforehand. I'm guessing tickets are going on sale with that trailer.
That would make the most sense.
Wholeheartedly. Yeah. So be ready for that and some other reveals. But go ahead. What's your insider knowledge on?
Yes, insider knowledge in quotes.
Yes.
My wife and I recently got lunch at the brand new Margaritaville at Universal City Walk here in Universal City, Los Angeles, and our waiter was very chatty with us, and he was just like, oh yeah, my wife had a chance to see an early screening of Ant-Man Quantumania. Mm-hmm. We're just like, okay, we didn't ask you, but thanks for letting us know. And so I was like, oh, did she like it? What'd she think about it? And he was just kind of like, meh. She has the same opinion that I do about the Ant-Man movies. They're just okay, and she had the same feeling about this one. So I don't know what we can take from this random waiter's wife at the Margaritaville, but that's an early report that they just thought it was okay. I don't know how early they saw it. Obviously, it's a test screening.
Right.
Were visuals complete? Is their story complete? I don't know, but this is just... maybe this is what we can glean from this is that the Ant-Man series is just going to be consistent. Yeah. Because they say that they feel similar to the other two. So that's all I can give you, but not surprising since it's all from the same director, right? Yeah,
exactly. Peyton Reed coming through with all three Ant-Mans. But I also say the people who are getting selected to early watch these movies probably don't know as much as we do or have the investment in them, right, that we do. Like, they're probably like, who's this Kang person and why are we meeting them for the first time? But yet we know what Kang's up to, what he's doing. So I think it's funny. I'm going to be When that comes down, we thinking about that. I'm like, I wonder what they were watching.
That waiter's wife thought about this part of the movie. But yeah, fun little look.
Nice.
At what's coming.
Very fun. Very fun. We're gonna jump into this is my favorite part of the show right here, and you can see why already, Mike. You see the notes. You know I'm about to be excited. So the Thunderbolts movie, right? The one after Captain America: New World Order, which is introducing Harrison Ford as General Thunderbolt Ross and probably the Red Hulk. Marvel Studios is looking to have the Sentry be the villain for the Thunderbolts movie, Mike.
Chris over there salivating. So how do the top two rankings work for you between the Sentry and Black Bolt?
The Sentry's number one.
Okay.
Yeah, but so the Sentry's number one. However, he was very, very overly used in the comic books for a while, right? There was the New Avengers, and he was a part of that, and the Dark Avengers. Black Bolt, came and went. He's had his on-screen appearances, right? We've seen the TV show that was awful. We saw his pretty cool moments in actual Doctor Strange last year, right? A big highlight for me. But Sentry's number one. I actually have I don't collect statues. I have a statue of the Sentry in my house, so very fun. But Boss Logic, his last post for 2022 was this. Henry Cavill as the Sentry for the Thunderbolts, a quick sketch he said he did. So I never thought we'd live in a world where one of the biggest concept artists is doing Sentry concept art for the public, and people are seeing this character. I'm just really, really excited. But the biggest news after this is they're also planning a solo movie revolving around the Sentry from the same report. This trusted source, I did double check to make sure it wasn't one of those we got this covered or bleeding cool articles. This is actually a legitimate source who's been reliable in the past, and doesn't mean they're reliable in the future, but movies should change. But this would be just I wouldn't know what to do with myself if we had a Sentry-based movie for this. I wouldn't know what to do.
It does kind of make sense, right, from a, I know Thunderbolts are not the Suicide Squad, but let's just envision them as a storytelling device that the Suicide Squad has done in the past, right? You send them out on a task, right, that's a little dirtier, a little messier, a little bit more gray lines in there than a normal hero can deal with. And I feel like the Sentry is a pretty good target, right? Yeah. You have a character who has the ability, right, to be a good guy, right? But will fall to a mental illness or some sort of fracture that will send them down the wrong path. And you got to bring in the goon squad here to correct them and set them right. But I'm curious if it'll be will this be an origin to the Sentry? Will the Sentry have been out there operating? So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, since the character is so big and powerful. It'd be kind of hard to obfuscate his presence.
Let me give you a little insight to his origin. He actually got the powers on accident because in one version he is he's essentially a druggie, so he breaks into this lab to get chemicals to make drugs, right? And he ends up taking an experimental super soldier serum instead of drugs, and injects it into himself, giving him the powers accidentally. So by having this person in the it doesn't have to be, again, one for one as the comic books. They don't usually do that very often. Having an accidentally very, very strong super soldier serum created person being, trying to be taken down by the Thunderbolts, who all have super soldier connections, right? When you look at that roster, this makes a lot of sense. At the they all have the same super soldier origins. We can only send these other people who have the serum in their body to go do this. So I think, to me, that's a smarter way to do it than to be hey, we have the Sentry, who's essentially the analog to Superman, but is also the most evil person in the world as well at the same time when the dark side, the Void, takes over. So I think that's a smarter way to do it, if I'm going to be transparent with someone who loves the character very much. So so I think that's one way to do it. On the flip side of this, in the Thunderbolts, the fictional metal of adamantium will also be introduced using Tiamat's remains on Earth. Do you remember who Tiamat is? And I know you can see the notes, but
I can see it here from the what celestial is this? The celestial that's in the Earth?
Yes. So the celestial that was turned to stone in in the water, they will. Apparently, the governments are finding out that the stuff he's made out of is very like powerful, like vibranium level powerful, right? So that's where adamantium comes from, which is the source of Wolverine's claws and his skeleton. So it sounds like the U.S. government is also trying to, get in there and stake a claim on this celestial corpse to get this, adamantium created.
Yeah, I'm gonna need somebody on this version of Earth to like kind of get their stuff together. And realize there's a lot of stuff on this planet that's going on, and maybe somebody needs to start cataloging it or tracking it or keeping an eye on it. I don't know if that's going to end up being Sword, but okay, so we got adamantium coming into the frame. We got a new deposit of vibranium that's underwater. What else we got going on? We got superpowered people coming in the woodwork with no explanations of origins. We got like a guy that's turned into like a bull in some sort of random lab experiment. We got Mr. Immortal. We don't know anything about him, and he's out there running around. So do we need like a new season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something?
We know from Miss Marvel and I believe also the Department of Damage Control, right, is the new quote unquote shield of this, but. I would like a damage control. They talked about a damage control show. Remember, we talked about that years and years ago. We've been doing this is our 9th year doing this, folks. We talked about this right before, and so we've covered a lot of this stuff, probably rumors and facts and stuff that's coming on. But I think a damage control show would be great. Hopefully, having Nick Fury back from Secret Invasion. Well, he'd be like, "What the hell happened while I was gone? Like, why are there like Minotaur people running around? What did I miss like while I was out?" So. I think that'd be fun. But adamantium is, again, this is the metal that, most notoriously known for Wolverine, right? So this is possibly a slow burn introduction into X-Men along the way. So I think that's cool. But you brought up a good point, vibranium. Another source of vibranium has been found, or at least maybe not found, but like notified to us, the viewers, in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and that movie is coming to Disney Plus January 20th of this year, in just 19 days. This was another hot news. I just got this right before we got on the show, Mike, so that's really cool to get that confirmation. Also, this movie is the highest grossing female-led superhero movie ever. It has $800 and something million. It didn't get quite to the billion like the first one did, but 800 and something million. So it puts above Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel to get that award.
So what you're saying is, it sounds like we're gonna be getting a third Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I don't think that was ever, even if it like made $500 million, I still think they'd do like there was reports out there that I saw just recently. Who knows if they're true or just rumors, or a little bit of grain of salt with this. That originally this movie was gonna focus around T'Challa already knowing his son, and then they would go out into the bush and he would be teaching him how to be a man in a way. So maybe we could have some sort of version of that in the third one, right? And we know T'Challa's son is alive and out there, so maybe that could be what happens in the third one. And they also, in that same thing, they posited we can have multiple Black Panthers, right? They're like, there's only a cultural reason we have one Black Panther, not a scientific, like, make more heart-shaped herbs, right? Now you can 3D print them, have like a dozen Black Panthers. I don't know. So they could have done that, and that's why I would like to see kind of them go down that route. It's like having multiple Black Panthers. But again, if you've not had a chance to watch this movie, it'll be easily available on Disney Plus coming up later this month. I also didn't see this in IMAX, so I'm excited to get that Disney Plus IMAX enhanced version. Check that out. See what scenes we're done with that along the way. Oh, also before I forget, I wanted to bring up, you mentioned this. There is rumored that Eternals 2 is moving forward as well. I don't have a source for it. I think it's like one of those things. But like we were talking about the Celestials and the Eternals. But like, if I was going to posit the question to you. One, do you want to see the Earth side of the Eternals, or do you want to see the space side of the Eternals? If you were given a choice,
the answer is obvious here. Being a new convert, I want to see the Harry Styles side of the Eternals, and I want him to do the entire soundtrack. I want his next album just be all scoring the Eternals. So
whose lap is he gonna spit on when that movie comes out? Is my question.
Yeah, and then we can get Patton Oswalt as his buddy.
Pip, the troll.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what I want. Lean heavily into Harry Styles.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a wasted opportunity with Kumail Nanjiani, right? Like he's out there doing nothing right now. Bring him back in. Let's get him in some of these cameos. We always see his name pop up, right? His character's name, Kingo, in like backgrounds of shows. But I'm like, yeah, let's actually get him in here. I think it'd be fun. Let's go into the MCU on Disney Plus. We just talked about a little bit there, but there was a video that went up yesterday, and by the time I got to it today, it was deleted from Disney Plus England, UK, saying that there are 5 shows from Disney Plus to release in 2023 from Marvel, including Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, and Echo, which we do have those on the release schedule, as you saw earlier. Also, the movies will eventually land here, but that's neither here nor there. However, they are saying that maybe only 3 of these will actually hit the streaming service in 2023. I think the 2 they took off were Echo, and I believe the other was Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Another country, I think maybe Japan, only had 3 listed. Knowing that Secret Invasion is done, Loki's almost done, and Ironheart has been filming more than Agatha. So I don't know, maybe they're trying to push Echo back more to line up with the Daredevil filming, right? Knowing that Charlie Cox is filming all this Daredevil, and that's coming later, 18 episodes. And Agatha, I don't know much about Agatha. We just know it's filming, right? So,
well, we do know Disney has a new CEO. There could be somebody new in charge of streaming now, or at least when Chapek was there, streaming was like the number one priority, right? Let's make the streaming network look as good and positive as possible. So maybe they're like, hey, let's slow down for a second. Maybe we don't need to release as many in this year. Hopefully this is more of a quality over quantity type of situation.
Yeah, I don't think delays are a bad thing, right? Like, I've never been, like, upset something was delayed. And then, like, oh, they did it. They obviously delayed it because it's bad quality. No, they're working on it. The other thing
I was just going to say, if the last 3 years have taught us anything, is it is very easy for things to be delayed and moved. So I just don't internalize any of these dates until I'm like 6 months away from the release.
Like even when they print the release, I'm still skeptical, right? Like remember when they were like Secret Wars is coming this in November, and then like actually never mind, we're pushing it back 6 months to May. I think the other thing to note in here that we did not have last year that popped up were literally 2 one-shots, the special presentations, right? We knew they were filming the what's the man thing, the Werewolf by Night, but they didn't give us that until like 2 weeks beforehand officially. So there's still an opportunity for these special presentations to pop up and get some release dates in here, because those seem to be filmed and turned around pretty quickly as well. So we'll keep you posted if anything comes out about that, but three movies and three shows from Marvel is still a lot of fucking Marvel for a year. So like, I think they can pump the brakes a little bit, and we'll be all right. All right, so let's shift into gears. I believe this will take us most of the rest of the show. It's the DC Cinematic or DC Universe, not DC Cinematic Universe, DCCU. So it's DC Universe. This is now the James Gunn, Peter Safran run DC Studios, right? This is where they're making the decisions and either pissing people off or making them really happy. I don't know. But we had a lot before we left our last episode. We had a lot of like maybe hearsay, right? Like negativity, Wonder Woman negativity, Black Adam, so on and so forth.
The best way to describe it just felt like drama. It felt like a reality show drama, spats going on social media, people throwing out like just random conjecture. It was fun watching it stream by. Yeah,
well, and I would say the worst part about it was nothing seemed to be official, right? It was always just like reporters and hardcore vocal groups for those things on there. But now we have some official stuff. And what we're going to call official, at least, release statements from a lot of these things. So let's jump into this. So the first is an insider report that the Snyderverse is dead and no actors will move forward from Zack Snyder's movies. Shazam probably has a chance because it wasn't a Zack Snyder movie, right? Standalone. Wonder Woman probably has a good opportunity if Gal Gadot wants to keep into it. I think Patty Jenkins is probably not going to do anything, but she might.
Yes, kill it all. I mean, I feel like at this point in time, I would just be repeating myself from like the last time we talked about this. But if you weren't around 2 weeks ago, if it's broke, fix it.
Yep.
And you don't make these big moves at a studio to keep things the same, right? If you're going to bring on these 2 new people to helm the next decade of your film franchise, why would you keep these random lingering things around? Like, start fresh, move forward, and this is great. I'm applauding it.
And the other thing is, I believe I'll take this back. Suicide Squad and Peacemaker have a chance of moving forward because those are James Gunn's properties in this. So so if that's the case, so be it. I'm excited to see what they're doing and how they're going to handle this. The other note is that, and this is from, I believe, James Gunn himself, is Ben Affleck is in talks to direct a future DC film. Since he has been, he will no longer be Batman. He wanted to direct his Batman movie. He's like a wishy-washy actor, director kind of thing right now. I don't know what he's been in. He's loving Dunkin' Donuts and being married to Jennifer Lopez.
I mean, he was hot. He was hot there for a while. He made like 3 movies in a row that were, I think, in like the 90% on Rotten Tomato. He's a good director.
He's like a burst. Like, he's like a burst of stuff and then nothing, and then a burst and then nothing. So if he wants to come and direct a future DC film and keep his keep that, I guess, rapport built with these people, that's fine. Ben Affleck can do directing. He's proven success before. So I think this is fine news if they get him on something. So
yeah, I'm curious if anything has been adjusted at all story-wise to Blue Beetle, right? Mm-hmm. You could probably keep most of the story in and of itself the same, but I wonder if like the post-credit scene for that movie has just changed and shuffled so many different times of where do we want to connect it? Yeah,
absolutely, and that's the beauty of that film, right? Like. And that's how most of these movies should be. The whole film shouldn't be based around other things right beforehand. Like, I hope that it's an original story, and if they need to redo a post-credit scene, even better, go for it. I think that's an easy fix. They can get on an afternoon. But we don't have much on. I don't think we have much on Blue Beetle here. No, nothing at all. Let's jump into another color group then. Black Adam. This is The Rock's pet project, who is now confirmed will not be a part of the DCU's first chapter of storytelling, from The Rock himself on Instagram. After he would you say it was chest puffing for like 2 weeks about how his movie made a profit, and it was just really embarrassing. And then his post was like, I just got off the phone with James Gunn or whatever, and the Black Adam's not in here, kind of thing. So pretty much no matter what he did not get a Black Adam 2 greenlit for at least the first couple movies.
Man, I feel like the Rock has gotten so big, his PR and publicists like feel afraid to tell him what to do. Like, at the end of the day, the advice is always just don't tweet. Don't tweet. Just keep it to yourself. Move along. Like, you're a big actor. There's going to be plenty of roles and projects that are always going to come to you. Like, the fact that he put himself on the line for this film, I'm not surprised that they're not including. Well, also like time-wise too, right? Who knows when this phase 1 is going to be really start to kick off, but like it seems like a little too close to fit Black Adam in there anyway.
Even then, the best, one of the most talked about scenes of Black Adam is Henry Cavill coming in as Superman, and boy, do we have some news for that in a little bit. So it just doesn't make any sense. I say the other thing, and I keep seeing this, and I had to look it up here just to confirm it again, that The Rock has a clause in his contracts where he can't technically lose fights in any of his movies. Like, he can't be beaten. Like, he can end in a draw or somebody can get away, but he can't lose. And how does that make, watching Black Adam, did he ever lose at all, any of those fights? Like, no, right? Like, he literally, it was either a draw or something interrupted them. So, like,
I mean, like, you're shackled there with just like your narrative and your storytelling. This example's at the forefront of my head just because we just started watching Wednesday on Netflix, the Addams Family show, and in the first episode, Wednesday Adam like loses a fencing fight, right? And she's like, they introduce you to her as like the audience's favorite character. You want her to win, right? But she loses the fencing fight to the mean popular girl at her new school, and it's like that needs to happen because you need her to come back and win and build herself up, so that's more satisfying. Like I was not satisfied watching Black Adam beat anybody in that movie.
So it all started with Vin Diesel. He has that clause in like his Fast and Furious movies, right? Like apparently he can only take so many punches in a scene. But apparently The Rock and Jason Statham took the same deal, and that's why Hobbs and Shaw, like nobody wins and loses in that movie because they both are just like, we both can't lose, so we're at a draw here.
Whoever was the first person to come up with this ruined it for everybody, right? Yeah. It's like those writers that bands have and like in their green rooms, right, at concerts. Yeah. It's like the same theory. It's like, oh, we can do that. We can tell them I don't want to lose a fight. No, let's put that in there. It's like, no, let's not. Yeah.
I've actually got the Wikipedia article for Character Arc pulled up here. I'm going to start emailing it to everybody.
You? Yeah. Can you email that to me?
Yeah, I'm going to email it to everybody I talk to going forward. But yes, anyway, Black Adam could be around later, or honestly, they should do a Shazam 3 with him as the villain, right? Like honestly, he's a Shazam character. Like just get over yourself and do it. Rock, like this is what everybody wants and sees, so he could be around, but there's no Black Adam 2 in the foreseeable future. Moving on, Batman, the Batman movie, right? One people I think voted that as one of the better movies of last year, 2023. If you remember, that even came out. Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's version of the Batman will not be the centerpiece for DC and will remain in a separate universe and get more films and like again the Penguin TV show in that universe, not relating back to Gunn and Safran's DC universe. Does this mean that they're bringing a Batman into that universe? No. They could definitely do stuff without Batman. But they're not going to be pulling this dude in here. And I also included a link to a tweet where James Gunn was just on. He was on Tweet Spree the other day. Like, I don't know. And someone asked, is Batman going to be a part of the DCU going forward? And they say he's a big part of the DCU. That doesn't mean he's movie one, but there is an opportunity for them to introduce another one along the way.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough needle to thread, right? You inherit this slot of movie characters, right? And then all of a sudden one of them's already been started and the movie's good, but it's in a totally different universe from what you want to do. I mean, like I can't imagine like James Gunn writing one of these movies and trying to fit it into Matt Reeves's world. I mean, like how are you supposed to joke in that gloomy of a world, right? So, I'm curious to see how that gets fit. It just seems weird. Like you want, like I've said before, you want the multiplier, you want the synergy of all these characters existing in the same world to bring in those box office dollars. And it's like, Batman can always make money because he's Batman, right? Yep. But we're not looking for, Batman box office money anymore. All studios want gigantic box office returns, and you got to do that by throwing Batman in there with Superman at some point in time.
Well, and the other movie that's not part of this that we already know is the Joker, right? Literally, only Batman is not a part of the DCU that we know of. Batman and the Joker. So. It's very interesting that they're also not together at the same time, right? They live in two separate universes. So, don't know how they're going to figure that one out, but, apparently the producers had a pretty good clause in their contract to keep those movies going along the way. But you bring up a good point, Superman. Probably I don't think Superman's a quintessential hero. Like, we've not had Superman movies we've all been, oh my God, you've got to watch in the past 20 years, but everyone knows who Superman is. He had really good ones for Christopher Reeve. You can like Man of Steel, it's totally fine. But I think Batman v Superman's just and Justice League aren't really Superman movies at the end of the day. However, James Gunn himself has been and is writing the new Superman movie for DC and Warner Brothers. So he is writing it himself, and he has set this in the earlier days of Superman's tenure. So this is not an origin movie, but it's not quite the older Superman we were getting in the Snyderverse either, right? Like that one who's already done his doomsday fight. He's already dead and been brought back to life. Yeah,
so. It sounds like maybe you kind of slot Superman into a similar time as the Matt Reeves Batman, right? Not same universe, right? But
like a year two.
Like a Batman, like a year or two. So we could see we could see that he doesn't quite have his Fortress of Solitude fully decorated, right?
Like a later Smallville season, like a Smallville like 9 or 10, right? Like he doesn't. Maybe he's still learning some of his abilities, but like he's. We're not watching him do the Jor-El scenes over and over again.
Maybe he hasn't quite saved the entire world just yet. He's just saved a city like Metropolis a couple of times, and maybe this is his first like world impending issue that he's dealing with in this movie. But yeah, it's weird imagining Gunn writing this film, right? Because as we were just saying, he's like very snarky, sarcastic, even like a very, very adult sense of humor, even when he can sneak those jokes into like these PG-13 superhero movies.
I've talked about James, as long as he doesn't inject his writing in everything, will be okay. However, he did, I believe, write Brightburn, this evil Superman kid movie that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So I feel like he has an affinity for people with Superman powers, right? Like an alien kid with so I think he could probably do something, because that movie. James Gunn cut his teeth on horror, right? Slither and some other stuff. So I think he could be okay, but it didn't have a lot of snark in that one either. That was just a dark movie. But I think he's got some chops for Superman. However, all this news means, and we have this confirmed, this is not rumor, this is not theory, Henry Cavill will no longer be Superman going forward in the DC universe. So he has effectively lost 2 jobs in the past 2 months. One for being Superman and one for leaving The Witcher after season 3. So
and this news brings so many rumors, so much speculation, and on top of that, I don't think we have it here in our show notes.
The
but
one I sent you?
I think the announcement came not far from the Warhammer announcement over at Amazon Prime.
Amazon, yeah. So there's the Warhammer 40,000 over there. There's not much information about
Uh-huh.
that right now, so I assume he's going to be a part of it, right? Like he's a self-obsessed person.
Yeah, he was like an executive producer, but then this all swirls around. You have to once you try to figure all this out, at some point in time, you have to figure out Henry Cavill as a person, right? Because we can all envision and strategically move around our pawns of handsome, muscly clad actors, right? Where should they go? What should they do? Should Henry Cavill be the Sentry? He is rich and successful. He's going to be fine for the rest of his life, right? But so now you got to get down to like the DNA of what Henry Cavill is, and like there's kind of like 2 swirling reports out there right now. One of them is that he's apparently addicted to video games. Now this is all rumor, right? I'm not saying this is true, but some people are saying he is addicted to games, where it's hard to get him out of his trailer. It's really hard to get him to focus on the project at hand and not him trying to. I don't know what game he's playing. Is he playing Warhammer? I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, well, Warhammer's not really a video game. I think he'd be doing the tabletop, but like the other, to that, like the gamer bro culture is what they're also like painting.
Yeah.
Like as you become addicted, you become the person who who. You've seen streamers who play games all day, like they're kind of toxic, right? I would use what's his name, Dr. Disrespect, as like an example of like how I think gamer bros are, in that like we love video games, right? Like, but I'm not straight addicted. So like, is this rumor that he is a dude bro gamer and causing problems on set true? I don't know.
And that was the other descriptor, that he's just not great to work with. And a lot of this could come too with his like fame and success, right? We just talked about how these big dude bro actors, they get famous enough and successful enough that they can say, I don't want to lose in a fight. I'm going to put that in my contract because they want me in my movie, and they'll do whatever I say. Maybe this is the same thing that's happened to Henry over the years. He's gotten more and more famous, more and more successful. He shows up on set of The Witcher, with this theoretically toxic, this toxic personality, and he's running into all of these other people. So there could have been a lot of PR mitigation with that announcement that he's leaving The Witcher, right? Just like maybe they wanted him to go, but they can't just fire him because you're tanking the whole series.
the only reason that makes me think there's trouble behind the scenes is because they're not canceling the series, right? Like, obviously they're recasting him with Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah.
So, like, the show's doing fine apparently for Netflix to continue to support it. So, you know, if he was leaving to be Superman, well, that's not true. The contracts were never signed. He didn't go back to be Superman under, like, the notion that, yeah, he's gonna be Superman. And that was work. So I don't know what to believe, and honestly, I don't know what to do with him.
and it kind of comes back around too to the Warhammer announcement too, right? You know, that's one, like, strategic thing in Hollywood that you always got to do. You always got to have your next project ready to go, you know, before your next movie comes out, because who knows if it's bad or not. You got to ride off of that previous success before things take a downturn. So this could have been strategic on his point of view of, like, hey, everyone on the internet says I just got fired twice. Like, I can't have that out there. We need to announce this Warhammer thing now. You know, hence the announcement not coming with anything, right? No, like, concept art, no anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even know Warhammer was owned by anybody. Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But I don't know. I feel like, you know, I've never met the man, so how can I judge him, right? And I would say he is kind of, he's following the rules that I set out for The Rock, right? You know, don't tweet, keep it cordial, which is the only thing he's done. Even when he announced that he wasn't going to be Superman anymore, it was very cordial. Yep. You know, he said he had, like, a sit down with Gunn and Safran, and things were very amicable, right? So it seems like he's doing just fine, and he's okay with everything that's happening. But it's not like I'm hearing good reports. You know, nobody's saying, like, oh, he's a pleasure to have on set, and we can't, you know, we're sad to see him go.
And so the other part of that is, you know, and I hate to say it, you know, he may have been a lovely person at some point, but when you have enough toxic Snyderverse fans building you up, like, like, do you eventually just succumb to that crowd, like, right? The people who are like, we only have one Superman, and it's Henry Cavill, and we're not going to rest until he's in Zack Snyder's Justice League again. Like, we want to redo the whole movie for him. And so, like, do those fans, like, do you succumb to those people eventually, right? Like, who keep building you up into something you may or may not be at the end of the day.
Yeah. And also, I just want, overall, I want creatives to be at the wheel when it comes to making the things that I love, right? You know, I'm not saying actors can't be creative, right? You know, Michael B. Jordan is directing the next Creed movie, right? So I think that's fine, and I think that's great to step into that seat. But yeah, I mean, I don't want Henry Cavill and his aura and his mystique to be, like, driving, you know, the next Superman movie, or, you know, even him being, like, fan casted as the Sentry. Like, I don't want him to, honestly, I'm going to be mean here. I'm sick of looking at his face. Like, I'm just, like, sick of hearing, there's nothing wrong with the face. It's a beautiful face. I'm just, like, sick of hearing about Henry Cavill, right? You know, he's talked up so much. The last time I saw something, him in a movie that I liked, was that Mission Impossible movie where he's cocking his arms because it's awesome. And then I stopped watching The Witcher in season 2 because I just wasn't that into it anymore. So it's just like, I hope things just move on great for everybody, and maybe we won't have to talk about him for a little while.
Yes. Again, I hate, you know, we talk about this, beating the dead horse, right? Over and over again. But it sounds like, you know, into this year, into 2023, we will have a new DC to talk about. Only the 3 lingering movies, Shazam, The Flash, and Aquaman are still out here. The other last bit of Superman news, Mike, is Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman film is still in development. Now, it may not be Superman, they may call it something else, but he has been writing the Superman movie for a while, and they are still moving forward with it for you know, I guess, pre-production purposes. So he as a writer, he has written Black Panther and Captain America books before.
Was this the one that was, like, rumored to bring up Michael B. Jordan again, that he could possibly be like a variant of Superman?
It could be, there's, like, the alternate universe, whatever, but, like, no one really knows what this one's about outside of whoever's making it. It
was kind of I guess, greenlit in a world where they were like, what are we going to do with this DC universe? Anything. I don't care what it is. Whatever makes money.
Yeah. So his is still working. So we'll see what that comes out. It may not be called Superman. It may be, something else. Bad example, but like Steel, right? Steel was a Superman movie, but it wasn't about Superman. Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I should have put this up there. The Rock passed on a cameo in this film when they asked him to do a cameo in this, and that just goes to show you dumb decision. If I were, I think we talked about it. Maybe if I were him, and I would be putting myself in every DC movie possible, so they can't take me out.
Yeah, I hate that he acts like he's so personally connected to the character and the story, and he loves this comic book and he can't wait to bring it to the screen. But when the most logical thing to do with the character comes up, he's like, "No, I don't play second fiddle to Zachary Levi." It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like if you want a connected universe and you want to eventually fight Superman, you're gonna have to go through everybody else to get there. You don't just go straight to the top. So. Really, again, bad decision. I'd be putting myself in every movie I could, even if I didn't want to. That way, when they were like, "Hey, we're moving forward, but you were in Shazam and we're going to keep Shazam. Do you want to keep going?" I'm like, yes, let's do it. Let's go. But, oof. All right, so let's open up a little bit here about the Wonder Woman 3 and Patty Jenkins' departure. Apparently, everything we'd reported on about her being trouble and awful. Sending character arc, stopping her, or drawing a line in the sand, not doing anything, apparently false and fabricated by whatever reports were going on here. She has officially 3 weeks ago released a statement saying about the inaccuracies of the reports going on about her leaving Wonder Woman. Apparently, DC did not want to. There's nothing she could do to move Wonder Woman 3 forward because DC, Warner Brothers, we're going through a bunch of changes that are difficult. And I don't think she really threw anybody under the bus here, right? I think, again, we talked about a very cordial document, just kind of clear her name a little bit. And then James Gunn commented that she can attest that all of Peter Safran's and his personal interactions were pleasant and professional. So either, I don't know if this is like a PR statement to prevent libel or / slander, or if it's really true and people, like, reports were just out for blood to get clicks, in the last couple of months of the year. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing we can go off of is what we know, and that is what is put on screen. Yes. And that is the first Wonder Woman good, second Wonder Woman bad. Yeah. So I think that feeds into it too, right? Like anything that kind of like amplifies your opinion on the previous movie, you start to believe in like, well, I don't like her because I don't like the way she made that other Wonder Woman movie. So, so if you just look at what you can see, I'm not exactly sad to see that she's not going to be sticking around for a third one. And also, it seems like there might not be a character to stick around for anyway, seeing on how this new universe is kind of being shifted and moved around. Yeah. If someone's going to go back and they're going to make like a YouTube retrospective, right, as soon as like the nail in the coffin is officially done, right, as soon as like I see the thumbnail with like a tombstone and the year on it and everything.
Yeah, like we gotta get Ezra Miller out of the universe officially. Jason Momoa's got to move on to play a different character like's been reported. As soon as all of, the nails are nailed down, there'll be that whole retrospective where somebody looks back at the whole kind of like culture around Zack Snyder.
Snyderverse,
and the toxicity and the fandom. So I'll look out for that one.
Well, I think the biggest thing here is, again, there's no mudslinging, there's no name calling, there's no finger pointing here, right? Like, she's just saying, it didn't happen, it's probably not going to happen. Perfect. That's what we need. That's what we want to know, right? Is it going to happen, and who's going to direct it? And the other thing here is that literally they kind of a notch for Disney / Star Wars is that they were like, hey, we will literally move Rogue Squadron so you can do Wonder Woman 3. Like, you know what? Do your movie that you want to do and get that done. When you're done with it, come back to Rogue Squadron and we will do Rogue Squadron. And she says in this that it's still in production. So despite us saying they killed the movie and we didn't know what was going to happen with it because of Patty Jenkins' behavior with Wonder Woman 3, this seems to go and confirm that no, that's not really the case. It's just on hold until somebody can get in there and work on it. Now, will it be Patty Jenkins again? I don't know. But I do believe we will get probably Rogue Squadron down the road, Mike. Whether,
Yes.
2 or 3 years.
I think the biggest lesson from all of this is never discount the social component of Hollywood, right? There is always feelings and relationships that need to be preserved in some way, and I feel like we're seeing all combinations of that in the news on this week's episode. People trying to preserve their image, preserving their connections, their films.
Well, and
what a way to close out 2022.
Yeah, and also again, it just seems to be the online websites that report this, not necessarily the Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, but the people who are giving this information may have been right before, but they can easily give negative, ideas out there pretty quickly. So that's what we're here to report the facts and give you guys that with some colorful commentary along the way. Fun fact, I didn't know this on our next topic, the Flash movie, Mike. Warner Brothers will debut its first trailer during the Super Bowl, which is about a month away, by the way, Super Bowl. So everybody get ready, buy your dips, buy your chips, buy your little wieners, get them ready for that. But this is the first Warner Brothers trailer in 17 years during the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
I did not know that. That part shook me when I read that. I'm like, is this true? To think that they've not had anything in the Super Bowl for 17 years.
That's surprising. Maybe I guess for a while maybe they just weren't seeing the return, but maybe this is a good sign that they got something good to show.
Yeah. That, and also when I've got the upcoming release here, and you hear me clicking around on it. Shazam is in March, so I'm really surprised. Will they do, because they're doing one for the first time in 17 years? Will they go all in and do a Shazam, a Flash, and an Aquaman trailer for this?
I only laugh because the last time they did that, they had to recall the trailer. Didn't that happen? It was earlier last year or maybe the year before. They had this whole
the
sizzle reel that was gonna roll before I think the Batman Matt Reeves movie.
That was this year. Yeah.
No, kill it.
Well, it still showed before the movie in the theaters. Even they were like, oh, none of these dates are real anymore. But if they're going, that'd be interesting. But 17 years. I was trying to pull up when the last trailer they ran there, but I couldn't find it myself. But I think that's awesome for them. Good job, Flash. Real quick, just a reiteration of Star Wars Rogue One. It's not canceled. Just Patty Jenkins asked, or Disney said they would complete it after Wonder Woman 3. Wonder Woman 3 is apparently not in the cards, not until we see James Gunn's new slate, right, of upcoming movies. But Patty Jenkins is still on the project, so good for them. I also think, if I'm going to be honest, Mike, did you watch Top Gun Maverick yet?
Oh, that's on my list of shame for this year. It's the biggest, best reviewed movie of the year that I haven't seen.
Okay, I feel with the success of that's going to push this back to the forefront. Because they did that whole airplane thing with Patty Jenkins. Remember that special promo they did?
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, we got people love airplane flying pilot movies. Let's work on that. It's a little more. So yeah, around the corner. The Sandman has Netflix is considering removing the binge model for season 2 and future installments of the show. It was recently renewed for season 2 after a huge delay, right? Several months before they announced it. But they want to release it in batches like Stranger Things, which we talked about at the top of the show.
I have so much turned around from my idea of these binge models.
Yes.
I love the
Yes.
week by week. I need constant reminders that something still exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an 8-episode thing and then I just get 8 weeks in a row of reminding me that it's there, I need that. So
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to necessarily do that with Sandman or if it'll just be in 2 chunks like you said with Stranger Things.
Yeah. I think it'll be multiple chunks, but right, if you want it to keep in the zeitgeist and get residual numbers, right? I know a lot of people didn't tune into Wednesday when it came out, but people are now, my wife just watched Wednesday last week, binge watched it because her sister recommended it, but her sister didn't watch it when it dropped. It was a slow like people building up to watching Wednesday. So I think that's fantastic for them and Netflix to do something like that. Spider-Man in the MCU. This is down here in my other Sony section of the show. They look like they might not do a summer release for Spider-Man, but do a winter of 2024/2025, so like a December, for this movie, simply because the massive numbers of No Way Home. I think this is a bad lesson to learn. The movie had a lot to it. I don't think it was huge because it was December. I think it was a good movie with everything people wanted to see. But, Spider-Man in December, Mike, any complaints there?
Well, if this is when's I'm just keep thinking, when's the next Avatar movie, right?
Well, Avatar currently does not have a release date for the third one.
Yeah, that's one thing you got to look out for. But since it is I know it's a Sony movie, but it's Disney's
Partnered.
very heavily connected into this, so they don't want that to come out and cannibalize the box office. So, like we said before, I don't look at a release date until we're 6 months away from it. So.
They've not even announced this yet, but again, a winter release for Spider-Man. It didn't throw me off that it wasn't in May or July, right, to watch the last one. So it's fine with me. Down the road. The Hypno Hustler. Boy, I bet you know this character if I told you. Hey, look at the Hypno Hustler. This is Donald Glover is to star in Sony's Spider-Man universe movie based on this comic character, the Hypno Hustler. My God.
I am going to start a boutique consulting company for Hollywood, where I strictly just break the news to actors that, unfortunately, you just signed a deal with lesser Marvel. You want to look out for that in association with, in quotations, anywhere on your contract. If that's in there, you have signed on to something that nobody cares about. The Hypno Hustler will not be in Secret Wars. You will not see him in the background. You are, unfortunately, now Morbius adjacent. I hate to break this to you, but I hope you got a lot of money out of it. Donald Glover, he's reaching auteur status, right? He is multi-talented. Why did you sign on to this, buddy?
Two things. He's already in the Spider-Man universe, right? He was webbed to a car trunk in the first movie. So there's that. However, do you think he's only doing this because he has maybe he's I'm gonna write it, I'm gonna do this movie, and it's gonna be goofy or whatever. It's gonna be what I want it to be, and I'm not gonna listen to so sure you can set your universe, but I'm doing what I want to do, kind of thing, right? He has that pull, I believe. He's not just looking for a contract to get into a movie.
Yeah, I don't know. This almost just seems like they're not produced. No one cares about producing a movie. It's just Sony doing what they do best, which is just producing headlines about movies, right? I would not be shocked if this doesn't go anywhere, right? This just could be Donald just coming into his yearly development meeting of just what do you want to do? It's do you want to do a superhero movie? Yeah, that might be cool. Okay, here's a list of characters. Let's do that. And then he walks out of the office, and all of a sudden there's headlines out there.
Well, the other thing is, I think he would do this because I'm gonna read you what the Hypno Hustler can do, Mike. Are you ready for this? From Wikipedia itself, the Hypno Hustler can perform hypnosis with the aid of his guitar. And when teamed with his backup band, the Mercy Killers, they can perform mass hypnosis.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like this is something he would do. I feel like this is something he would just lean into and be I'm going to do it my way. Rather than, I don't think Sony, again, he doesn't need anything, right? He's coming off Atlanta. That show's wrapping up. He's won tons of awards. He's a musician. He does whatever he wants. I feel like he's let's have some. I want a fun project. Let me do a fun project.
This just seems like a random villain from the '90s Spider-Man cartoon. But it's one of those episodes where it's the real drama in this episode is just Peter and Mary Jane. They're having a fight, and the Hypno Hustler is just stopping him from being able to go out there and buy a present for Mary Jane. It's the side villain. It doesn't even matter that the villain's there. They just needed something to put in there. So
he was also created in the '70s, so that totally lines up with being a musician and a Spider-Man villain that they really needed. So Hypno Hustler. We'll tell you more about that. Last bit of Spider-Man news is Spider-Man 2, the video game, has been updated to release window for fall of 2023 on PlayStation 5.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Speaking of movie release dates, I'm even more in a fog when it comes to video game release dates. I just wait until I can literally buy it. Like, I try not to hype myself up about it at all.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to hype you up about this one. This is one of the few reasons I own a PlayStation is for Spider-Man games. So I'm very excited for them to do fall. Of course, it's going to be fall because when they can get more consoles with the Spider-Man logo on it and sell them for holidays next year. So we'll keep you guys posted as more of that comes out. Also, in the Sony / video game world, God of War, the TV series, was officially picked up by Amazon.
Oh.
And it is confirmed that it will be based on the 2018 video game series instead of the original game. So the bearded Kratos in the Norse mythology.
That makes the most sense. You do the kind of father-son story angle.
Yeah, he's a lot. The other one's just a button masher, like action game, right? This one's very story driven, very very good. Also, it'll be written by Mark Fergus and Hawk Ospey, who have worked on Iron Man and Children of Men, with Rafe Judkins' Wheel of Time. I believe maybe directing. I think I left off a word there. So seems to be okay, right? I mean, you're excited about Last of Us dropping. I believe it's this month, mid-January.
Yeah, I think we're like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. If that's on HBO, it'll be off the service by the time it comes out, though. They're taking things off there all the time. So that's coming. Excited to watch that. This bit I put on here, I didn't think I was going to include on here, Mike, but I know your hype for this movie is through the roof. And that's for the movie 65.
Yeah.
So there's this dude flying through space, transporting people between planets. He's hit by an asteroid, lands on an unknown planet, and has to deal with the horrible creatures there while trying to save a child that he was able to recover.
Yeah, my favorite part of this though is like the trailer reveal. Like, it could be a fun world if you could imagine watching this movie not knowing the premise. But I think it's just so fun the way they cut the trailer, where it's just like there's something in the bush. There's something in the bush. It's about to go out and grab him. It's gonna kill him. There's an alien hunting them, and he even says like alien, like in his like Stardate log or whatever.
Yep.
Then it cuts to 65, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I know that's the title. I clicked on the YouTube link. I know it's 65. Now, why is it titled 6? And then million years ago, I'm like, wait, what? He's on Earth. He's the alien.
Yeah.
And he's back in time, and there's dinosaurs there.
Is he time traveling? Is this a different world? Like, does this set up human civilization? Does he bring the asteroid to Earth that kills the dinosaurs at the end of the movie?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, maybe when he's like trying to escape the atmosphere, he's like, hey, what's that? When I'm just trying to leave. The best part about this though is that I'm just glad that somebody else is taking a stab at dinosaurs.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's either Jurassic Park or it's some like Discovery Channel like faux documentary.
How dare you forget the Velocipaster? That came out. But no, you're right. Like, and this looks like good dinosaur design, right? Like, it looks good for the trailer. It's also stars Adam Driver. We didn't say that. It stars Adam Driver from Star Wars fame. So also this is from The Quiet Place, the writers of The Quiet Place, and produced by Sam Raimi. So this is a hell of a team up here.
Yeah.
For the crew, and it comes out I believe in March. So it's right around the corner. Trailer link is in our show notes. So very. Very that's gonna be one I want to go to the theaters for. That's a popcorn movie weekend, right, Mike? That's a good one. Alien Romulus. I'm only put this in here. Hulu is also now doing an Alien movie from Fede Alvarez, who did the most recent Evil Dead. It's going into production soon, and I believe this is riding on the success of Prey, which was the Predator franchise movie. So I'm actually excited about this. Right, like they did a really good job with Prey, and maybe they can take Alien in a good way.
Yeah, this is interesting because there's supposed to be an Apple TV series from Ridley Scott about the Alien universe. So I wonder what's going on here. I can't imagine that they would connect in any way since they're two totally different streaming services and companies.
But the the original movies were all Fox, so I could totally see them being like, yeah, they're all in the same place. We're just putting them in different places.
Yeah, Prey was great. Are they going to do like a similar thing of, going back in time?
I'm not seeing the one on Apple TV. There was the one from FX from Noah Hawley.
Oh, maybe it was FX for some. Oh no,
Yeah.
I think does Ridley Scott have something different that's on Apple Plus that's not Alien connected? I don't know. There's supposed to be some sort of streaming series with a xenomorph in it at some point in time.
Nice. Yeah. Either way, I mean, again, really like Prey. I think that was a sleeper hit movie of 2023, right? Or 2022. I think one of them. This would be fantastic for this to come out and do an Alien one in the same, not necessarily historical, but for a streaming service. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. Lastly, we are at the end of our show, and at the end of our show, we're going to talk about a movie we've been talking about for years and years and years, and it's Avatar, The Waterbenders. I mean, The Way of Water.
Yes, usually we're teasing our review spoiler cast at the top of the episode, but we're going to be recording our full spoiler cast review for Avatar: The Way of Water tomorrow, so you'll have to keep a lookout for that in your feeds. We'll be separating these because this was a big episode in and of itself. We're catching up on like 2 weeks of news, wrapping up a year. Yep. So don't be worried if you haven't seen Avatar just yet.
If you haven't,
going to give you,
you're like one of like 10 people based on the box office numbers.
Yes, we are going to give you just our spoiler-free thoughts here at the end of the show. And then stay subscribed, and you'll see the spoiler cast coming. But this is exciting, Chris, because I have no idea what your opinion on Avatar: The Way of Water is. Now I do know what your opinion on the first movie is because I asked you the other day. So, Chris, lay it on me. What did you think of Way of Water?
So I saw this the Sunday after it came out. So what was that? December 18th, I believe. When I was before Disney. So I've been sitting on this for a long time, like several weeks here, and you just saw it yesterday.
Yes,
you're fresh. You're fresh. So I'm a little more stale. You're fresh. It's fine. I mean, I have no strong opinions about this movie. Either way, I will say a couple things. The intro to this movie, obviously spoiler free. The first half hour is really weird. Like how it tries to catch everybody up with everything that we've missed in 9 years and however many years are on this planet. Didn't really care for that. A lot of characters, didn't really have a lot of arcs, but it's a beautiful movie. Like you have to experience this in theaters. Like I feel like there's no other way. Like if I'd watched this at home instead, I'd been disappointed in myself. Like I loved watching this in theaters and going and just watching it. But like at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I just don't care about these characters, these people. But not a single time, not a single instance throughout this whole movie did I sit and think to myself, none of this on the screen is real. Because there's only like one human, there's several humans, but like majority there's like one human the entire time, and most of them are Na'vi, Avatar people, right? Like the whole time I'm like, never did I think, oh, this is fake or that looks fake. Like the graphics, the visual fidelity, it is just phenomenal throughout the whole experience. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm not invested yet. Like this was better, I think better than the first one for me at least, but I'm just not invested yet. But I feel, the way the story can go, and as they're like ramping these up more now, right? We know 3, he's got 4 and 5 in the works. I feel I could become more invested, but like right now I'm just like, let's get going. Let's move a little faster into some of this stuff. But yeah, overall I'm just kind of like right down the middle. After a couple weeks of sitting on this, Mike, and I'm excited to hear what you say about this.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to see the movie because I knew this was not a once in a lifetime, but this is like a rare occurrence, right? Where everybody out there in the world is saying, you got to see this in 3D. If you can, go see it in IMAX. You got to go all out for this one. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to do this like 3 times a year like they do with Marvel releases, but we get a Avatar every once in a blue moon or eclipse or whatever you want to say.
Right now.
So I did it. I went to the 3D IMAX screen at Universal Studios City Walk. It's one of the premier IMAX screens here in Los Angeles. So I was pretty positive I was seeing it as the filmmaker intended. This is probably exactly the room that James Cameron is in when he's like, final, checking the movie. So I saw it as it was intended, and I can say visually, this movie is like absolutely flawless. I mean, I was so engrossed and immersed with this giant like 4x3 screen in front of me with my 3D glasses on. This movie is over 3 hours long, and like the only way I could feel time passing was my bladder was getting fuller and fuller, and I had to sneak out to use the bathroom, which is very hard to do in an IMAX screen. Like they packed those rolls so close together. I felt like everyone wanted to murder me trying to get out so I could use the bathroom.
Those are some steep stairs too, right? Because that's the tallest. Yeah. That's the tall.
We us as a society must find a way to fix these IMAX screens. I don't know how we're going to do it.
So before I forget, did your theater? Because I didn't watch. I had no 3D and I had no IMAX. But I could tell the variable frame rate very actively. It's like it swapped back and forth. So I just want to make sure you got that too.
Yeah. That's going to be. I think that's going to be a big component of how we do a spoiler cast review for this movie. We're going to have to split it in half of just like visuals and technology and then story, because the variable frame rate jarring at first, but I'm still not sure how I feel about it. So maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow.
Perfect. I just want to make sure you got that too, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, is it just because I'm not in 3D?
Am I going crazy? My wife was right next to me, and she gets very motion sickness. Like she's got to sit in the front seat of a car. No boats for us over here. But there's a scene in the movie where there is like kind of a very short kind of like zero gravity scene, and I could visibly see her next to me, kind of like holding onto my shoulder, like trying not to get queasy. So fully immersed. And I told myself, if I walked out of this movie theater at the end of the movie and I saw Jake Sully, like the 10-foot avatar blue skin creature outside, like in a t-shirt, I would believe it. Like him as like an actor, right? Like, I believe these creatures are real, which I think is a very impressive magic trick. And it kind of makes me think a little bit when I would talk about, going into a Star Wars movie, right? We know things are always going to go well when it comes to the music and the visuals. It's just a coin flip if we're going to like the story or not. And I feel like James Cameron kind of like hacked that formula in my head of just like, if you want to see an awesome looking movie, I'm going to give you the best looking movie your eyes have ever laid their eyes on.
It's what magicians call sleight of hand, Mike. You're too busy looking at the screen to realize what else is going on in the whole movie.
But overall, I thought the story was fine. Like I don't think it was bad. I've seen more generic movies in my time, and I would not go as far to say some people who say, this is just kind of like a generic story. Some are saying that the first movie is better. I think this is just different. This to lean on the story of Fast and the Furious. This movie is all about family, and it resonates every chance they get to resonate into the theme. So when I got out of this movie, I am like hyped. I'm excited. I want to see more. I can't wait for the next Avatar. It seems like box office wise, he's gonna get the other two on top of it. So I'm, for lack of a better term, I'm blue pilled, baby. Yeah. I'm all in on Avatar. I want to see more of it. So stay tuned. We're gonna record a whole spoiler cast. We're gonna talk all about it. The visual effects, the characters.
Well, we're gonna be well rested. It'll be the only show we're recording. You're gonna love it. We're gonna go into this because my other part of this is like, again, I saw it at the AMC theaters on Disney Springs. Literally went to Avatar Land like 2 days later. So like I had my Avatar fill within like 48 hours. Like nobody's business, right? Like I'm in Pandora, standing there and like looking like how did they plan? How well did this parks these original movies compared to that, like plan for this, and we'll talk about that more. But like it's I like it better than the first one, but I think that's maybe because I feel there's a lot more characters in this one than the first one, right? And you can back me up since you recently watched the original. There's a lot more characters in this and a lot more interactions. pay attention to than the first one. So
now, if you're listening to this and you're say, "Oh, I'm going to go run out and watch this movie now because I want to be prepared for Chris and Mike's spoiler cast for Avatar: The Way of Water," I honestly would recommend rewatching the first movie. I know you and also my wife watched YouTube recaps to catch up, and I watched those as well to kind of see. But I feel like you do kind of miss some of the emotional nuance in those recaps when it comes to like how full all in like Jake Sully as a character has converted to the Na'vi from the first movie. You know how rich and organic the planet is, and I rewatched the first movie on my iPhone on a plane, and I still had a good time. So just however you can watch it, I would recommend rewatching the first one.
My disappointment is we know there's a 4K version they put in theaters. They've not made that available to home viewing. And I'm like, why won't you just give us the movie so we can watch it? I would gladly watch the original at 4K rather than like a 1080 just so I can watch it again, but I just can't. I can't find it like at all. Like they haven't released it yet. So I think that's a big miss on their behalf, but
The people want it, Disney. Put it out there.
We want it. We have it. Also, I'll just add real quick because we have this movie is at $1.4 billion internationally. So, it's gonna. James Cameron's fine. He's gonna get that third movie. We don't have to worry about him not getting a third movie. So, we'll go with that. But anyway, that's our show, Mike. That's our notes for today. We have been off for 3 weeks. It is time to go edit this, get it up for people to listen to. But if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at?
They can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, I'm sure we'll tease it a little bit more next week, but you'll be going and attending CES, big consumer electronics convention, which I think is really cool. So if people want to catch up with you and maybe follow you, where can they find that?
You can find me on Instagram, Valden87. I'm going to put up, I got a lot of Disney photos I'm still going through. I had to give, between, the photo pass and the ones we took. So my wife and I have combined those finally. So I'm going to post some of that up there, especially my lightsaber I built. Very excited to show that off and some other stuff. So I'll put that up there. Also, the other thing I was going to say, I didn't bring up, C2E2 is coming up in 3 months. So if people want to get their tickets for that and meet me there, we'll be doing that in a couple months. If people know about the show, get ready for our Avatar Way of Water review episode. Where can they find all them goodies at?
All you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our awesome show notes. So if you want to see, we talked about a ton of stuff in this episode. So if you want to see a rundown of everything we covered, we got that in our show notes and our awesome upcoming release calendar to see what you can look forward to this year on the big screen and the little screen. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and get swag at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Reach out. What are you most excited about coming in 2023? What was your favorite stuff from 2022? Reach out, let us know. And if you want to be a super fan, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks. We just started our 9th year. So we're keeping this train rolling.
That's right. We will catch you guys tomorrow and next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.